Boom. Some cleanup around here. And the reason why the detailed level is around here, right, on this band here, this, and this, is because this is where the viewer's eye are going to go. So you got to make sure the detail holds up in these areas. Stuff back here doesn't really matter. You know, if you have time, you could clean it up. If you're on a production, you have 2-3 days to paint this. Sure, you could go and clean it. But if you only have an hour to do a painting like this, then this kind of stuff you can sacrifice because it served this purpose. It served the purpose of being in the background, tells a story. You don't need to go in there and pick all this stuff and make it super refined because it doesn't sell your major design elements, right? So like doing that stuff like here, not really necessary if you only have an hour to paint, but you can always go back and do it, clean up. Boom, 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 knock those in. So, it's kind of cool to have when you have the time. Little tail light, make sure it goes in perspective. But you can see how quickly something can actually be cleaned up. Even if I do this a few minutes here, it looks tighter than when we first started. These looks like some kind of glowing discs. Makes it float, stuff like that. See, now it's a little bit more detailed than before. All right, let me take another pause here before this file gets too big. Save it. Okay, we're back, and hopefully we could wrap this up very, very shortly. Okay, where are we here? Let's turn on some more layers. Oh, this is actually a suggestion from one of my students saying, hey, can we dock this thing? He wants to see if we want to connect this taxi here. Whoops, where am I here? Connect this guy to the landing pad. So this is kind of like a last minute addition just to show the student because he had a specific question how to add that. So I punched a quick hole here, boom, painted in the landing gear. You can see it kind of comes out here. And then extracted it out. See, without the extraction, this stuff all gets mixed together. This landing pad, this railings, and this floor, they all kind of jumbled up together because their values are too close. So add a little bit of separation between them. You can see this is local separation. You have the big ones, like this big giant fog back here, and then you have these local ones because you have to separate stuff out. When things are mixing together, you have to be a little bit careful how your values work. Again, but some stuff do mix together. If it's a dark lighting situation, yeah, a lot of values go together. One shape runs right into another, and that's something you want to do in paintings. It's like stuff back here. Stuff starts to run together. You have no idea where the things separate, and that's natural. But when you're doing a design, for example, this landing gear, and this has to be built, you got to make sure it sort of does read. So whoever is taking on this painting and have to model this in 3D, they can at least figure out some of the details, so they don't ask you, hey, what's going on over here, right? So because it's not about separating everything out all at the same time. Some stuff you want to bleed together, you want some to disappear, you want this kind of areas here to just go away, all the values mixing together. So, but that comes experience, comes with doing it over time. You start knowing where the separation should start and where you should not separate things out. For example, I extracted the leg out even further. You see by putting a little bit of reflected light on the outer edge here, and some reflective light down here going down to the city below. So just this way, this leg actually extracts out from the background. Okay, and this is pretty much all the details for this image. I actually added some people in here because the same thing, the student wanted to see, hey, what if I want to tell a story? So I added some very quick figures in here. So here's a little dude, here's a little soldier guy guarding, right? Here's kind of like a bodyguard coming out of the ship, and here's maybe the VIP he's escorting, just to tell a little bit of simple story. And also put the people, we talked about this before, make this guy look this way, make this guy look this way, therefore it locks the composition in the center around here, around here, around here, right? So the viewer doesn't go off and start looking over here or looking over here, they stay around here. So but I take these people, I always draw people, whoops, wrong one, people, I always put them on a different layer, this way just in case you want to take it out so the 3D modelers can see what you're doing. You could remove them very easily so they don't block details. Okay, so because people is very easy to add in. Most cases in the kind of work we do here, we could just mock them in as silhouettes because the people rarely serves as a story point. You're doing design, right? These are just characters. So unless you're doing a character specific painting, in this kind of case, the people here, the only purpose is to serve scale and to tell a little bit of story. Their details and stuff like that isn't the key in this type of painting. Okay, so anyways, I'll just take these in and out, boom boom, don't need them. And then add a quick color. This stuff is very easy to add. If you watch the previous tutorials, you know that once we have a good value like black and white, it's very, very simple to add some, just at least some overall color washes onto them, because it doesn't affect value, these colors. So, and right now, because these students are still in a junior term, like this one here, we don't get into colors. We get into colors for them next term, which is a little bit more complicated. And you're going to start seeing that for the next tutorial, actually. And all we did for this one is actually just a bunch of color balance layers. You can see if I turn these on and off, you can see what it does. Color balance is quite neat because you could adjust the shadows and the highlights and the medium values accordingly. So you can actually add a turn in blue, turn in orange, right? So you can play around with. So in this one, I don't know, maybe it's hard to see on the YouTube, but it's actually cooler in the shadows and then warmer in the lighting, right? And you can do that with color balance. It's quite good at that. It basically takes lower values like your blacks, dark grays, and separate them out for your high values, and allow you to adjust them according to their value scale. So it's very easy to then use a black and white image and add these kind of basic color tones. Okay, so that's that. Let's see, should we leave the people in there? We could leave the people if you want. So that's kind of the completed scene. So let's take a quick look at before and after. What this image accomplished. Boom, here's previous. Let's leave it full screen so you can see. And the paint over of this image. So they're quite different. Let me actually take the people out so we can see the environment. Okay. They're a little bit different, but in a production sense, this new one here, the paint over, serves more purpose. We could do more with this image. This one we could use as a storyboard, a way of suggesting mood. This one accomplishes that, plus it gives us designs, and it gives us storytelling, and it gives us a background plate for the editors to play around with. Because especially today's entertainment industry, this painting could be quite useful to try to sell the project, because you can edit all this in Premiere. You can actually, you know, I've seen some very talented motion graphic artists take this kind of stuff and actually bring lighting in here. You know, you could put this, you can light this stuff up so it's flickering, turning on and off, turning on and off. You know, so this whole thing could actually be turned off when you first see it. This taxi can actually be extracted out and then fly in. All this crazy stuff. So it serves a lot more purpose than just a very quick painting. And it's pretty cool to tell a story with, because you have these elements. So anyways, hopefully this helps you guys with this type of painting. I'll actually show you guys what we're going to do next week. Let me load that up here. We'll start getting into some matte painting type of work. Give Photoshop some time to load up because we have the recorder open, so it's taking time to dump all this stuff into memory. So hopefully it doesn't crash the program, but I don't think it will. So I'm using a laptop, so this is an old Photoshop CS1. The new ones, if you're running Windows 7 or you're running on Mac OS X, the Photoshop 4 and 5 are very, very fast because they could utilize a lot more RAM, versus this one, I think it stops at 3 gigs or 3.5 gigs of RAM, whereas on my work machine at home, it's using all 12 gigs or something crazy like that, so it's very, very fast. Anyways, let's take a quick look at this image before we wrap this one up. And this one here I loaded up is something I'll probably do for you guys next week. Quick preview here, which is working the exact opposite. We actually start with a photo, boom, which you see here, a photo I took in, this is Hong Kong. Very cool. If you guys watch Ghost in the Shell, go to Hong Kong because they're exactly the same stuff. It looks just like Ghost in the Shell, right? Really cool. But I'll basically show you guys how to take an image like this, a plate that belongs to you, that you took your own composition, and turn it into something else. In this case, we're doing a kind of post-apocalyptic Fallout 3 type of, you know, crazy fun world with a little sniper nest way up here. Right? And this kind of painting style is very popular, it's fast, and it's easy to get a good result in a very fast amount of time. So anyways, we'll get to this next week. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this week's tutorial, and keep those emails coming. Those are really cool to read, and post comments or questions on the YouTube channel. Alright, cool. So I'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.